What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the SpotOn collar. Now obviously the elephant in the room is this is one of the most expensive collars you're going to find on the market. So what does it do for you? What does it do for your dog? That's going to be the make it or break it difference between whether or not you buy the SpotOn collar or if you look for something a little more reasonable on the market. We're going to cover everything from the GPS virtual fencing, the notifications, the apps, how big the collar is, the sizes, the charging, the battery life, everything you can imagine about this collar. We're going to cover it, how the app works, and before the review's even done, you're going to know how to operate the collar. And, you know, the most important part, which is whether or not it's worth it for you. If you want to add this collar. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a smart collar, and there are a lot more smart collars than you think out there on the market, and SpotOn is just one of them. Obviously there's the Halo, which is at Halo 3rd generation now. This SpotOn collar right here is a 2nd generation SpotOn collar, and you've got invisible fence. I mean, there's a lot of other smaller, lesser known manufacturers out there that have some pretty good, highly rated collars on the market. And there are people that put air tags in their dog collars. I mean, it just really depends on what you need. If you don't need it, you know, no review is going to do the trick for you. Me personally, I think it's an outstanding collar. We'll get to the unboxing. I'll show you why. I'll explain things, and we'll take it from there. And here we are with the SpotOn collar itself. One of the things I like about this collar immediately before I even take it out is that it's in a single box, and it doesn't require me to cut through 5 pounds of tape to get to it. I swear some of these manufacturers send you a product and they don't want you to open it. They don't want you to ever see it. You'll spend as much time opening the product as you will putting it on your dog and using it. Anyway, it's a single box, and as soon as you open it, you're presented with a collar. Now, if you have a Chihuahua or another small dog, mini toy poodle, any other kind of mini dog, this collar's not gonna work for you. This is a huge bulky collar, and it does come in small, medium, and large sizes, but the weight of it alone will probably be too much for a Chihuahua or a mini poodle type dog. But the collar itself, it's pretty much single piece. It's got a buckle system on it where you attach the strap to the buckle. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when I first got this, the strap was exactly. It doesn't stay on. But as a testament to SpotOn's customer service, they immediately sent me a new strap, acknowledged the problem solved. That's customer service that I can appreciate. Your leads, you've got a little charging cradle, which is nice. You don't get to see that very often. Most of the time these things come with a single cable for charging, and that's just about it. Speaking of single cables, here's your cable. Got your wall plug-in device, whatever you want to call that thing. And these are for your, obviously for your static shock. I don't personally use the static shock with my dogs, but it's there if you need it. Everything else here is pretty simplistic. There's not a whole lot in the packaging other than the leads. As far as the cradle is concerned, you plug it in, plug in your adapter, and let's see here. Yep, that's pretty simple. And as you can see right here, these 2 little dots down here, that's where the battery charges. And when you set this thing up, it's kind of hard to do it here on the desk where you can see it, but when you set this thing up, you simply take the collar and slide it right in. No problem, it'll just sit there on your counter and charge. And one of the things I like about this collar is it charges really fast. It only has about 22 hours worth of battery, but you can expect to go from just about 0 to 100% in an hour, and that's pretty impressive for one of these large dog collars. Some of the other collars I've had in the past burned out in a couple hours and took 2 or 3 hours to charge, so that's something that I think is a very attractive aspect of the SpotOn. Now that you've seen the packaging and you know pretty much what you're getting, there's not a whole lot. Of course, there are other little accessories and whatnot that you can get from SpotOn. You can order it on Amazon.com or directly from SpotOn. Everything that you basically need is in the package. The only unfortunate aspect of it, like I mentioned, and it's the same with the Halo collar and several other collars of the same type, is that they're huge and they're bulky and small dogs need not apply. But other than that, everything that you need for the collar, to charge it, to put it on your dog, to get it set set up, to go through the apps. All you need is a smartphone for the apps, by the way, or a tablet. And everything that you need to get started with the collar is right there, and it's easily accessible and it's easy to set up, which I like. This is such a bulky collar, you gotta wonder what all is packed into this thing. Well, you got your Bluetooth technology, which is what connects the SpotOn collar to your smartphone or your tablet through the companion app. One of the things that makes this collar so unique and accurate is the dual feed antennas, and they're located right here on the outside, which, you know, reduces interference and whatnot. SpotOn is capable of connecting to 128 satellites. Now, obviously it doesn't do that all at the same time. We're talking about 4 different satellite systems here. You've got GLONASS, Beidou, your standard GPS, Galileo, excuse me if I mangled some of those names. But SpotOn is big about letting everybody know that this is where they located these dual feed antennas, and it works very well. It's very precise, very accurate. Now, as far as the app goes, everything's pretty simple and intuitive. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but I mean, that's to be expected. It's a smart collar and there's a lot going on here. As you can see, I'm adjusting my fence posts to take in the entirety of my property, including the house. You always want to include the house because you want to set up your home zone later, but moving the fence posts around is not an issue at all, and you can add in up to 20 at a time and shift them around to wherever you want them. It takes a little bit of touch and go, but just work with it and you'll get it. Once you're done with that, you can just load the fence into the collar and it saves it and it's ready to go. Once the fence is finished loading into the collar, then you can go from there. You can set up as many fences as you want and you can name them all whatever you want to name them. As you can see, I have the collar's name as Athena, and this particular fence is I named backyard/home, but you can add as many as you want, you know, for different people, you know, friends' yards, neighbors' yards, places you go on vacation. You can set these all up quickly, effectively, name them and move on. And it stays right in here until you're ready to delete them. As you can see here, I'm playing with the fence a little bit. You do have the option of walking the fence out if you prefer to do it that way instead of playing with the app. But that's entirely up to you, which, you know, I like to have the extra option. If I want to go out there and walk the fence out, instead of sitting here playing with the tiny little fence post, I can do that too. But here you also have, you're setting up, this is part of the editing fence process, I should say. And you're setting up your little home zone. Now you can't see it obviously because there's trees covering my house, but this is the home position. And of course, whenever Athena comes into this portion of the fence and goes to the backyard, it would, on this map, you would be looking to the west. If she goes to the back of the home, she's not gonna trigger the alerts on the collar, which is very convenient because until I set this up, it was triggering alerts on her collar. And once I did set the home up, like I said, it's very accurate, so it stopped setting the collar off whenever she approached the back of the house, or it would be the front of my house, but on the west side of what you're looking at here. Now, setting up your home zones and setting up your keep out zones is exactly the same as setting up the fence. You get a number of little posts and you can sit there and toy with them and adjust them to whatever size dimensions that you want. For the most part, unless you're like me, you know, with a lot of tree coverage, you're going to be able to see the dimensions of your house and match it up however you want to match it up. Just like the fence, when you're done, it loads into her collar and the changes take effect immediately. Now the keep out zones, remember, are exactly the same. You set them up exactly the same as you do with the home mode. Just moving your little fence posts around until you have exactly what you want, and then loading it onto the collar. And once you're done with that, you're pretty much all set, unless you want to create a new one. Also, this is where your power button is. It's just a lone button. It's the only button on the device, and it just serves to power it on, power it off, pair it, whatnot. And it's not lit up right now, but there's a little bitty LED light here that lights up blue when it's pairing, or it'll light up bright blue when you just turn it on or when it's charging. Other than that, this is where all the little noises, bells and whistles come from whenever your dog steps outside of the boundary, or steps into the boundary and gets his first warning, his or her first warning. And then it'll increase the intensity a little bit, give them a second warning when they get really close to the fence line. Then of course it'll start vibrating if they cross the boundary. Now keep in mind, SpotOn's just like everybody else. They're using satellite technology, so the fencing, when you set up your virtual fencing, which I'll show you later, it will shift from time to time. I mean, I'm sure you've used GPS navigation before. It's not always completely 100% accurate. The fence shifting can take maybe up to 3-5 feet to the left, or the east, west, north, south, or a little bit in between. That'll happen from time to time. So you do have to consider that SpotOn has I would say it's about 10 feet. Now, again, since the fence shifts a little bit, that 10 feet is not exactly accurate, but 10 feet from the actual virtual fence is where the collar will first trigger and give your dog a warning. It works great. In my backyard, it's full tree coverage, so I have the collar set on forest zone. That pretty much wraps it up for the SpotOn collar. If I had to give it a rating out of 5 stars, I'd say 4.5, maybe 4. Some of the things that I don't like about it is obviously the price factor is going to be an issue for some people. It's a bit bulky, so little dogs are going to have a lot of trouble with it. Even if you get the small version, it's still a very bulky collar. The strap issue I had initially, which SpotOn solved pretty quickly, so that I can't even really harp on them too much about that. As far as the pros of the collar, I'd say it's a highly accurate collar, especially considering my backyard where I have a huge tree canopy. As you can see in the GPS, there's very little open space back there, and the fence remains very accurate. I love the forest mode, for obvious reasons. I also like the home mode, so that when she comes inside, her collar's not vibrating. If you don't set that home mode up, there will be times when the collar vibrates, so that's something you need to be sure to do. I found that the location tracking on the SpotOn collar is very precise as well. I can walk my dog all through the neighborhood and get on the app at any time and see where I'm at. As you can probably see in the satellite imagery, we're marked as A with a little map marker, and it's very accurate as to where I'm at inside my own house. So the location tracking, I think, is very specific and very precise on the device, and I would rely on it. It's better than my iPhone tracking for tracking other iPhones in my family. It works better and it's more precise than that. So now, as far as the membership is concerned, it is not a mandatory for the membership benefits. You don't have to have them. You get everything within the home. It's a self-contained thing for free, and that means the yard coverage, your virtual fencing, your inside the home zone, the forest mode, you get all of that stuff for free. You don't have to pay for any of that. But if your dog happened to escape, now that's where the membership stuff comes in, because it includes the tracking stuff that you need to locate your dog if they escape. And unlike a lot of other smart collars out there, it is a 3-tier membership, but you don't get more for the 2nd tier and the 3rd tier. It's just different ways of paying for it. The first is just a monthly payment. The 2nd tier is a yearly payment, and the 3rd tier is a 2-year payment to cover everything. Now, personally, I prefer that kind of membership because I don't like it when they stack a bunch of different perks with different memberships and whatnot. I would rather just get everything in one single membership payment, whether I'm paying monthly or yearly. I'd rather just have the whole thing together. So I do like how they've set that up, and I do like that they haven't made the membership plans mandatory. Now, Halo is obviously SpotOn's biggest competitor, and the membership with them is mandatory. If you don't have it, you can't really do anything. With SpotOn, at least you've got the security of your virtual fencing, your home zone, your force mode, and all the stuff that comes with it. It's a whole self-contained little thing. As long as you're in your home or in your area, you don't have to pay for anything. The only time you need to worry about a membership plan is if your dog were to get loose or escape somehow. So on to the more uncomfortable part. As you probably noticed, this is my 2nd YouTube video that I've ever made, and so I promise I will continue to work on it and get a little better at doing this, especially as far as the editing is concerned. But if you like the review and you appreciate the information that we gathered for you today, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. Thank you and have a great day.